What's up YouTube? Welcome back. We just hit 10K last week. I want to say thank you for that. This video we're going to talk about carrying appendix or strong side. I'm going to try to help you decide what one's going to work best for you. A lot of this video is going to be my opinion, and it's going to vary depending on what body type and what size of gun you're trying to conceal, but we're just going to try to help you out. My opinion, I like appendix. I carry appendix about 80% of the time, and then I do strong side maybe 10 and ankle carry about 10. And a lot of this, you need to have good gear. That's a big thing that I talk about. Get a good belt and a good holster. I remember when I started carrying appendix, I had a cheap holster and it seemed impossible to carry concealed and comfortably. And then once I got good gear, good belt, it really changes the game. So make sure you are getting gear that works for you. And I carry chambered. You know, that's gonna affect some of you guys, you know, where the gun's pointing. I always carry with one in the chamber. So let's dive into this, see if we can't help you out. Talking about appendix carry or side carry, strong side carry, just for the sake of this video, when I say appendix carry, I'm talking about carrying a gun in the front. Some of you are gonna carry it straight in line with your spine. Some of you are gonna carry it a little bit offside. You're gonna carry it like I carry it in a sidecar type holster. And then strong side, it's on the side of your body, whether it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, a little bit in the small of your back, outside the waistband, inside the waistband. We're just gonna kind of keep it simple. So appendix in the front, side strong, 3-4 on the side. All right, so appendix carry. The two big pros for me on carrying up front is speed and control of the firearm. So I believe that the appendix draw is just less wasted movement. You're gonna get more speed than from the 3-4. We're gonna show you some video of me shooting from appendix and from 3-4, and we're gonna time it for you. But I love the speed and just the ease of draw from being in front. It just feels natural for me. And then control. You know, when you're carrying appendix, if you are concerned about print, where that gun is, I know it's in front of me and that I have control over who sees it and who has access to it. Whereas when I'm at 3 or 4, you know, I always think about checking out at like a gas station. When I'm carrying 3-4, especially if I don't have an overcoat or overshirt, I just feel my gun printing and I feel it being exposed to whoever's behind me. Where when it's appendix, I can feel if my shirt's sucking up to it, and I just know that I can have my hands in front of it, and I really get to control who sees it. And then of course, being able to just get that gun out quick when I want it. Love that. One of the big reasons for me carrying appendix is because I can carry with my tier 1 concealed holster, and I can carry a spare magazine. So I carry a Glock 19, so I have 15+1 in my gun, and then I carry a 17 mag as a backup, so I have 17 rounds there. So I can concealed carry 33 rounds up front. Now a lot of people will use a single holster and a single mag caddy up front, or they're gonna carry with a neo mag in the pocket and a single holster up front. So there's a lot of combinations for the way you can carry appendix and carry extra ammo. But for me, having everything up front and easily concealed, it's just way more convenient. And then I also love that the mag is canted. So a lot of times when you carry single holster, single mag carrier, that magazine is straight up and down, so it's a little bit harder to get to on that reload. Where when you have the canted magazine, it's just a little bit more conducive to a reload. So I love that. Mag capacity, everything in one. I don't have two things moving around. Love it up front like that. So another one for appendix, which can be a pro and can be a con, is comfort. When you're walking around and just carrying appendix, it's amazing, especially if you're carrying a smaller gun, so a 43 or a Shield or Glock 26. It just feels super comfortable. You're not adjusting it. It's very nice. The problem though is when you start to have movement with appendix, if you're squatting a lot, picking up kids, picking stuff up, whatever, it tends to just kind of get into your groin and rub on your legs. So it's very comfortable in most day-to-day activity, but sometimes sitting in the car and things like that, it can really wear on you. So that's something you have to get used to yourself. If you carry a weapon mounted light, that holster is a little bit deeper in your pants. So it's all stuff that you're just gonna get accustomed to, and you're gonna know in a couple days, yep, I like this or I don't. All right, so the last pro on appendix is the way you can carry it in the car. I'm not a huge fan of 3-4 in the car because it's always down by your seatbelt. So when your seatbelt is latched, it's really hard to get to that firearm. When you're using appendix, you can tuck your seatbelt and your t-shirt behind, or whatever shirt you're wearing, behind the gun, and you have direct access to that while you're in the car, and that's super nice. Now, of course, the con of that is if you have a little bit bigger belly and that gun is getting pushed forward the whole time you're seated, it tends to just push into your groin. So again, that's another one that you're gonna say, yep, I like it, or no, I don't, based off of your body type. Talking about speed, I'm just gonna take some reps here with my timer. I'm using my Tier 1 concealed with my Glock 19 Appendix. I'm gonna try to go for around 1 second just so you guys can see that draw stroke, and then we'll switch to 3-4 with the Tier 1 Echo, and we'll show you guys that. So here we go. Okay, so that was a 1-1-4. We'll go again. I'm gonna try to go a little faster this time. Here we go. Get that second sight picture. Don't just snap look at the timer. That's a 0.89. So that's a little of that speed. Now, when I switch to the 3-4, I bet I'm gonna be around 1-3, 1-5. Still fast, but just a little bit slower. This is the Tier 1 Echo. This is what I use for 3-4. I used this a lot last winter. I really love this holster. It has that bend, so when you're on your hip, you can kind of have it wrap around your leg. I hate carrying at 3 o'clock. I carry more at 4 o'clock just because I'm skinnier, so it just smashes my hip when I go 3. So this is a great holster for that, so we're gonna take some reps with it. So one thing I wanted to point out here is whether I'm drawing from Appendix and keeping that hand up and presenting out, if I'm clearing my shirt back here, I'm still keeping this hand up to marriage. So this hand's never coming back down where it can get flagged on my draw. So we're gonna take some reps here. We're shooting real close, it's just to show you guys these reps. So that was a 139. So that was what, like a 0.3 slower than my draw from Appendix. Let's go one more time. We'll go from hands up. Again, that was a 132. So that's gonna be kind of my sweet spot. Now, if I push that up to maybe a 1-2 or 1-1, I'm really gonna be jerking everything. So you can see, still fast, just not as fast as Appendix. All right, guys, so I changed this into a t-shirt. This is an outfit I would wear all day long in the spring, summer, and this is the gun combo I use, so I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see. When I carry Appendix with a big gun, because of my body type, I have a small print here. No matter what holster, what belt, I just have a little print. I got wind going, that wind pushes your shirt against it. It's just something you're gonna have, and you have to decide, am I okay having a little print, or do I need to wear a bigger shirt, overshirt, switch to 3-4 with a cover shirt? I'm just not the guy that's gonna wear the button down tan and the black boots, and so it just screams that I have a gun on my hip. So I just like being concealed up front, and I just, if I feel like I'm gonna be in people where they can see it, I get my phone out, or I just have my hands up here, just pay a little attention to it. All right, so for Appendix, I just wanted to touch real quick again on body type. I shoot with a bunch of guys, different sizes. If you're a little bit overweight, or like me, you have a winter belly, your little belly wants to push that holster forward. So you're gonna get a print line along here, depending on the type of t-shirt you wear. I tend to wear more form-fitting large shirts. So if you're a little bit bigger, that gun's gonna tip forward. You're gonna print a little bit with Appendix, but sometimes because they tighten the belt down, they actually like it because it'll drive that gun into their belly, and that way the shirt's kind of coming over the belly and it hides the gun. So there's a pro and con with that. Now, skinnier guys, so if you have a flatter chest, that gun's gonna print more, right? Because if you puff your chest out, that pushes that shirt out, and you have that little gap where it can hide. So if you have a bigger chest, bodybuilder guy, you're gonna be able to conceal Appendix a little bit easier. If you're a little bit skinnier in the chest, that shirt drapes onto your belly, it's gonna print more there. So those are things to consider. Now, if you switch to 3-4, same problem. Bigger guy, you're gonna have bigger shirts. It's gonna give that gun more room to breathe and not print as much. Whereas if I was to wear a shirt like this at 3-4, depending on the size of the gun I carry, of course, normally I carry Glock 19, that grip's gonna print very bad on my side. So that's why I don't rock 3-4 a lot in the summertime. One thing I wanted to point out really quick too is when I draw from Appendix, I'm not trying to get my thumb behind. That's another thing with comfort, is when I draw, my thumb just falls on top of my slide, so then as I'm coming out, that thumb rolls as I get my other hand on it. A lot of people try to stab that thumb behind and they really chew up their gut. So it's just one thing I've changed how I draw. All right, so another downside with Appendix is wear on your stomach. So if you don't wear an undershirt, the grip of your gun is on your belly almost the whole time. So if you have a gun that's been stippled, or like my Hellcat that has a very aggressive texture, it's going to rub on your belly. Now for me, that's not a huge deal, but if you are someone that walks all over the place all day long, you're gonna rub your belly raw depending on the type of grip you have on your pistol. So that's another thing to consider. And if you do have a little bit more of a belly and it's really pushed into that gun, it's probably gonna get uncomfortable if you're wearing that gun every day, all day long. The last thing to consider with Appendix, if you've ever put a video or picture up on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok of you carrying Appendix, someone will say you're gonna shoot your dick off, because when you holster Appendix, you are pointing a gun at your groin area. So I do two things to mitigate the risk with that. When I'm holstering, I lean back, and that makes that holster tip forward. So when the gun is going into the holster, it's pointed away from my body. And another thing I do is if I'm out here working, boom, 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 and I'm reholstering that gun, I am clearing my shirt and I'm watching that gun go into the holster every time. So that's two ways that I mitigate risk with carrying a chambered gun up front. That's something that some people can get used to, and that's something that someone will never get used to. And the people that don't get used to it, they're gonna carry 3-4. One thing to consider with Appendix carry is if you are going to your gun, it's kind of a telltale sign, right? So if someone's in front of you and you're trying to get to that gun secretly, you have to kind of turn your whole body. Where when you're carrying 3-4, you can just blade and kind of clear one hand. So your Appendix movement is a little bit more pronounced. And that's just something to think about. You know, if you're going to your gun from Appendix, it's a more of a visual cue that you're going to it, where 3-4, you can kind of do it a little bit more secretive. Obviously, that's all dependent on the type of issue you're coming up with or into, but it's just something to think about. Okay, so strong side carry, 3-4. The pros of side carry, for me, I love that no matter what kind of body type you have, carrying outside the waistband with a covered garment, you're gonna be able to carry whatever gun you want. And I think for people getting into carrying, you know, tucking it into your pants can be kind of like a mental step you have to get past. Whereas if you're just putting a gun in a holster and it's a gun you're comfortable with, it's just a little bit easier to get into carrying outside. All right, so one thing I have to touch on, because I know it's gonna be in the comments, is open carrying. So if you're a 3-4 strong side, some people are gonna be of the open carry opinion. I personally hate open carry. I don't open carry. It's just not something I'm a fan of. But if it's something you're gonna do, I would recommend a certain level of retention on your holster. So this is a cheap Blackhawk, but Safariland makes ones. You actually want something that's gonna keep that gun locked in there. So if someone's trying to take it from you, they can't just pull it out and scoop and go. So if you're gonna open carry, which I don't think you should, make sure you have it locked in. All right, so I've touched on a lot of the pros and cons of 3-4 as I've talked about the pros and cons of Appendix, but just to rapid fire them real quick, I think being able to carry any kind of gun with any kind of body type is a big pro. And then all day comfort, movement, you know, being able to get to your firearm slowly and without putting on a big signal that you're going to a firearm, being able to blade away, I think that's a perk. The cons, you know, comfort in the car, being right by your seatbelt, it's a little bit harder to get to. It kind of pushes into your side. If you do carry 3 o'clock and you're a skinnier person, that gun's gonna dig into your hip, so I hate 3 o'clock. So really, you're just trying to find the gun holster belt combo that works the best for you, that you're gonna carry that gun as often as you can. Because if you get into a gun size or holster that isn't comfortable, there's gonna be times you just end up leaving it at home because you don't wanna deal with the uncomfortableness of it. So really just spend time trying out holsters, trying out belts. There's a great company, Wild Gunner. They rent out holsters. So if you're thinking of switching from 3-4 to Appendix or Appendix to 3-4, just rent some holsters and try them so you're not having to spend that $100 and not like it. So try some new things. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, guys, thank you for watching the video. If I missed anything that you think is important, please comment below. Again, consider subscribing, smash that like button. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you next week.